Good morning, YouTube. Welcome aboard the lifeboat. I am Captain Calhoun, and it's a wonderful Thursday morning. Welcome aboard. What is going on, family? Hill Hath No Fury, Kevin Hawthorne, Kristen Melinda, James Collins. What's going on, guys? Jane Aldrich, Barbara, Annika. Good to see you guys. Jeremy Fowler, last but not least, right? Good morning. Good to see you guys. I figured it's about time we talked about some relapse again. Probably one of the most important topics that we talk about because this can make or break your recovery, right? How we treat and handle relapse, how we view it. Um, yeah, it can make or break your recovery, right? Because it's a stepping stone. It's not a failure if you learn something from it. Some people fall off the wagon and never get back on. Some people fall off the wagon and get back on habitually, right? And we're not going to talk about the difference in all that. I think that's pretty individual, but we can talk about the stages of relapse and what we can do to hopefully prevent this from happening. Linda Bennett, good morning. Layla Bradley, Millie the Dandelion. Hello, hello, hello. I am well, Layla. Thank you. It's good to see you. It's been a while. I hope you're well as well. I hope you're well as well. But yeah. But yeah. James Collins already suffering the consequences of last night's ohm. What are we talking about? Did I miss something? I must have missed something. That's okay. I miss things. And that's quite all right. So there are 3 stages of relapse, y'all. I'm sure y'all are familiar with this bit at the very least. The 3 stages of relapse are a model often used in addiction recovery to help people understand the warning signs and prevent a full return to addictive behavior. Each stage reflects a progression of thoughts, emotions, and behavior that, if not addressed, can lead to physical relapse. Here's a detailed explanation of each stage. And again, physical relapse is stage 3, right? We can catch this sucker 2 stages before we actually physically relapse. That's quite a bit of time. And you can progress through these stages quickly, right? But at the same time, there are 2 distinct stages before actual addictive behavior resumes, right? So we have quite a bit of net to catch ourselves here if we're paying attention. Diane Reese, good morning. Robin Miners, love it. Victoria, hello, hello. 5 years probation, intensive therapy, and random P-test, and my family. Well, I have to say, the first bit doesn't sound very exciting, but with the family, I do enjoy some good family time. I'm glad to make your acquaintance, Victoria. I'm glad you're here. That time will be gone in a flash once you get in the groove. Got sent some pepper mash sauce with red and yellow warthogs. Holy cow! I really want to eat a warthog. Those things look mean. It sounds like Uncle Johnny and I might be getting a little bit closer in the near future. So you'll probably get to see me on Chase the Heat now and again. I'm pretty excited about the prospect, I have to say. Keep your eyes peeled this upcoming year. All right, the first stage of relapse, because there are 3, is emotional relapse. This is the earliest stage where relapse begins subconsciously, right? That means we're not conscious of it. That means it's happening beneath the surface. You may not even think about using or engaging in addictive behavior, but your emotions and actions start setting the stage, right? Don't say that too loud as Johnny pops in with one. I wish he would. Honestly, he lurks on my shows often. I think. I don't mean to call him out or anything, but I do love the support, and they don't need to. If my dad or Uncle Johnny's watching, they don't need to say anything. It just warms me up thinking about them watching me. But you know, Corinne, good morning. Hello, hello. Great subject. Yes, this is one of my favorites, and relapse has been a part of my journey. And everyone that I know, I'm trying to think of someone right now that relapse is not a part of their journey. I'm having a hard time, and I'm not saying that it's not impossible to get clean and stay clean the first time, but this definitely seems to be intrinsic to the addict's journey, right? At least on average, at least the majority, or at least a lot of us. So I think it's real important. Um, and you know, I mean, the most if there was one solid takeaway from everything that I'm going to say today on the show, it would be that relapse is not the end. It's just a hurdle. It's just another obstacle. It's just something else for you to conquer, right? And you know, we can begrudgingly look at it like that, but why don't we righteously look at it like that, right? Instead of being like, well, I guess I have to do this now. Get back up and get excited about it, right? Like, I'm going to beat this sucker this time. You know, this substance, this whatever, this addictive behavior does not own me. It does not define me, right? A little energy, a little pep in your step. Victoria says my probation officer literally said he would plant blah blah blah. It was the only I didn't mean to say that. Anyways, plant C. It was the only time he came to my house and said, "Are you trying to say that he threatened you with false evidence?" Sounds like a stand-up guy. Not really. Sounds like a terrible person to be under. I tell you what. Layla Bradley says, I gave up smoking and never smoked again. Touch wood. Yo, that is impressive, especially if you're talking about nicotine, um, one of the most diabolical substances known to man. It is described by both of my parents as being harder to kick than heroin, which I think is saying a lot. So, emotional relapse, right? Emotional relapse, signs and characteristics. Stress and anxiety. These are pretty regular, right? We all experience these. But if we're feeling an inordinate amount of stress and anxiety, increased feelings of overwhelm, increased feelings of being overwhelmed, or inability to cope with stress, right? So if these things are coming to a head, if these emotions are coming to a place where, or a magnitude where we're not feeling like we're capable of handling it, it's probably a big red flag, right? Mood swings, irritability, frustration, depression. If your moods are swinging back and forth, it's a good sign that something's not right. It may not necessarily be relapse, but it could be, right? There could be some underlying mental health issues. Mood swings are definitely not what we want to be happening, right? We want to take note if we're mood swinging. Isolation. I feel like I'm getting a little sick. I got some drainage going on. Mood swings. Pardon me, isolation, withdrawing from supportive relationships or avoiding meetings in therapy, right? So if you have like a meeting you go to, if you got a social thing that you're involved in, et cetera, stuff that's just a part of your habit, your routine, your life, and you start withdrawing from these, you start isolating from your friends, right? I'm not going to go to the Thursday flow jam because I don't feel like it. You probably should just go anyways. That isolating behavior is going to keep you from your support group. It's going to keep you from connection, which you need, right? It's gonna do a lot of things. Isolating is not what we want. We need connection. We need social interaction, and not all the time, right? I come back here to isolate to recharge. That's what I do in my home. I recharge here. But what separates that from isolating is the extent of time, right? If I'm doing nothing but being alone, this is a bad sign. This is a red flag. Neglecting self-care. I think this is probably the biggest blaring alarm for me. If I'm neglecting my self-care, if I'm having poor eating habits, if I have irregular sleep, which I usually, if my sleep's drifting, it'll slowly happen, right? My bedtime will get a little bit later. I'll get a little bit less cognitive in the morning over time, right? And I'll just let it go, let it go, let it go. But I'm neglecting my self-care. I'm not treating sleep as important. Maybe I'm not exercising, right? I'm not going to the gym. I'm not doing my thing. These are signs that I'm slipping, right? Resting on my laurels, so to speak. Matrix Rabbit, what's going on? Sandy Wandy, it's been a while. I haven't seen you in quite some time. It's good to see you. 24 years. Victoria is sober 24 years. Wow. If that doesn't deserve a trophy, I don't know what does. I hope to have this level of consistency one day. That's definitely one of the things that I need to work on. Patience and consistency, I think, are my two biggest weaknesses at the moment. Kelly Gerling says the beginning of relapse for me is the overwhelming desire to hide from everything. Yes, yes, this isolation, right? This withdrawing from things that I love for, seemingly inexplicable reasons, right? I'm currently fighting this. It's Thursday and I plan to face what I need to Monday. Still fighting. You've got this, Kelly. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. And yeah, be kind to yourself, right? We all struggle, and I think we all are We all have the ability to not be so nice to ourselves, especially when we're not succeeding the way we want to, right? This thing is one of the most difficult things that I've ever done. This sobriety thing, right? This recovery thing is definitely not super duper easy. So just keep at it, right? Believe in yourself. You've totally got this. And, if you're struggling, come hang out, say what's up. There's a bunch of people here on the boat that um, have similar experiences and would love to support you. Support groups are fantastic. Denial is our last characteristic and sign of emotional relapse, right? Denial, ignoring or minimizing the emotional struggles that you're experiencing. Interesting. Denial, ignoring or minimizing the emotional struggles you're experiencing. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I'm trying to wrap my brain around that right now. Like, is that something that I can relate with? It must be, because I wrote it down. I'm having a hard time remembering what the point of this one was. I mean, I guess denial is not good regardless. The lies that we tell ourselves are the hardest to see through. Remember that. Some very very good advice. I forget who told me that. I think it was someone in the 12 steps, but the lies that we tell ourselves are the hardest to see through. 100%. Sometimes we need a little bit of help with those. A little help from a friend. Phone a friend. A little lifeline. Cosmic Christy, welcome back. It's good to see you. I hope all's well. We've definitely missed you. Sobriety is not for cowards. Wow, Kelly. That's inspiring. I love that. Yeah, it definitely takes courage to step out of your addiction, out of your comfort zone, so to speak, eh? One hell of a group of survivors. I definitely agree with that, Annika. Denial is not in Egypt. Let's go. So, how do we address emotional relapse, folks? I'll give you a bunch of guesses, but most of them don't count. You should be able to get this one. How to address it. Practice self awareness, right? We're going to be present as possible for what's happening in our lives right here in this moment. Identify your emotions and acknowledge them. Journaling, imagine that we put journaling in here. Journaling or talking to someone can help, right? So getting those emotions, those thoughts, whatever's going on inside you, whatever's causing you to want to isolate and withdraw and deny, right? Whatever's causing these wild mood swings, whatever it is, share that with somebody. Share it with your journal. Share it with your mom. Share it with your friend. Share it with someone who you trust, who you think will understand. It will take a lot of the power away from those emotions, at least the power over you, right? It will bring the power back into your hands. Um, Keeping these things inside is probably one of the worst things that we can do. We need to share them, right? So, this is great. Practice self awareness, identify what's going on, and share it with someone. Write it in your journal, do something with it. Write a letter to someone and don't send it. Whatever you got to do, do a voice memo, right? Some people do that. Cosmic Christie's struggling mentally whilst starting a massive project. It's a battle to not use my problem behavior to fall back on. I called my version of 911 instead tonight. Oh no, Cosmic. Well, we're going to put some ones up just for you, but also, I guess, for everyone else that needs them today, but especially for you, Cosmic. I hope that, I bet you the size of the project has something to do. Something's telling me that it's just feeling a little overwhelming. If you can get a little bit of progress done, I bet you it'll feel a ton better. If you can get to like not the beginning of the project, but maybe a little past that, it might not feel so crazy, right? I also deal with being overwhelmed and have dealt with this quite a bit. And there's nothing to it but to do it, right? We can try and break it down into baby steps. We can try to take like frequent breaks, you know, and treat ourselves real nice. But at the end of the day, like the true cure for being overwhelmed is to like get the stuff done, right? Unfortunately, you got to run right through that fire. But I tell you what, I'm glad you're here, and I'm thinking of you. I hope that this works out. I hope that you can get through this thing with some serenity intact, right? Plus, you're awesome. I think you've got this. I believe in you. believe. I was about to start singing something. Reading, I'm reading, reading. Layla Bradley says, I remember sharing my struggles with the wrong person, and they acted as if a relapse was imminent. Choose wisely. I feel like if I was in this position uh, that Layla's describing, sharing with the wrong person and realizing, oh, I shared with the wrong person, maybe some healthy space between me and that person is called for a little while, huh? You can act like that all day long. I just don't need to be present for it. You know what I mean? I can definitely relate with this as well, though. That's definitely the part about sharing with someone you trust that you think will understand. That's definitely important. Um, Sharing with someone who doesn't understand or who can't understand can often turn into something that's not fun. Turn into something where all of a sudden I'm the on the receiving end of a bunch of projections or what have you, right? And someone who can understand is someone who understands addiction. Who is someone that understands addiction? Well, someone that's experienced it. If you haven't, and this is unfortunate, but I think this is a law of the land. I think that this is an irrefutable fact. And maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong many times in my life. But if you haven't experienced addiction, I think it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, for you to understand it. Um, the people that say, why don't you just stop? Right? Why don't you just choose not to do that? Those people don't understand. You know what I mean? Those people don't get it. Those people have never tried to stop doing something and not been able to. Right? So, yeah, I think this is very important. Thank you for bringing this up, Layla. If you are going to share this with someone, the person you should share it with is someone that understands, right? Someone that you think will understand. If you don't have anyone like that in your life, you should make friends with people on the boat. Or, there's maybe a support group in your local area. You can get face to face with folks, right? But finding a support group of people that understand is going to make all of this so much easier. It's going to grease your wheels so that all your cogs are moving nice and efficiently. You know, bouncing back between my content and the chat sometimes throws me for a loop. It's like my brain's not completely woken up yet. I have a hard time changing focus. I guess that's my ADD, huh? Jen Otneen Hobbs, good morning. I'm glad you're here. Finally caught alive. Sending love right back. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. I'm in a strange mood today. I feel a little whimsical. You guys ever get that way? You feel a little whimsy in your step? Scared straight and no 5 years in prison. Well, we definitely like not spending time in prison. I tell you what. Some addicts have no clue, says James Collins. Try to tell someone who drinks 4 coffee a day, for example, to just not have coffee and see how they change. If it's not alcohol or hard drugs, they think it's not addiction. It's interesting. I think that thinking about other people's perspective, like this example here, people think that if it's not alcohol or hard drugs, it's not an addiction. Like scientific fact refutes that, but people that choose to see a certain perspective, or like maybe their subconscious beliefs won't allow them to view things that the way that they are. I think about this kind of stuff a lot. It's very interesting. This goes right in line with, like, there's the saying goes, you can't, like, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't teach it. Wait, no, that's a lyric. You can bring a horse to water, but can't teach it how to be okay when you decide to leave. Like, we can show these people the door, but they have to walk through it, right? Like, we can give them the information. I can give you all the information in the world, but if you don't believe it, if you don't believe in yourself, if you're not willing to fight, right? If you're not willing to go on a marathon, to have success, to change your life, then it's just not going to happen, right? I can give you all the information in the world, but I cannot shove you through the doorway. You know what I mean? You have to open the door and walk through it. So people like this, I can only do so much. You know what I mean? And, you know, if I'm speaking with someone that has this opinion, speaking with someone that I know, is in this kind of place, I don't spend a whole lot of time and energy trying to speak with them, right? Or like change their mind or what have you, right? I kind of let them be, kind of give them their own space. Because I don't want to be brought down, right? I don't want to sacrifice my sobriety because this person's a little confused. I definitely hold my recovery sacred, and that's a crazy thing to say, but I'll be damned before I go back to smoking crack. I will, you know what I mean? I'll die before I do that. That's something that's just not going to happen. And you know, they tell me not to say things like that. That in itself is a reservation. I tell you guys not to say stuff like that, but that's the level of my conviction. I am not going back. It's just never going to happen. So when it comes to like the content of conversations, when it comes to people I spend time with, like all the way down from like the content that I consume, all the way up to like what I'm going to do for Christmas. Like everything in my life is structured in a way where I'm going to hopefully succeed, right? I'm not going to spend time with people that are going to have opinions like this. You know, I'm not going to spend a bunch of time trying to bring them to the light either because I don't want to be back in the dark. I like the light. I like the sun coming in my window. I like the cogs in my brain moving nice and smooth. You know, I like not feeling like a slave. Um, so there's that. There's that. Everything in my life is definitely viewed through the lens of can I succeed doing this way? Like, can I maintain my recovery doing this? What do I need to maintain my recovery? Literally everything in my life is viewed through that lens because I'm not going back. It's that important to me. And I kind of lost my gumption here. I don't remember why I'm saying that. I think it was something that James Collins said. Yes, 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 yes. Swiss cheese in the morning. Sugar and caffeine detox migraines are horrific. Yeah, there's nothing quite like a caffeine headache. I tell you what. I tell you what. I definitely consume a lot of caffeine, a lot of coffee. And you know, it's probably not a healthy amount, but at the same time, um, I think I have bigger fish to fry at the moment, right? I recognize that this is an addiction that I'm engaging in, but it's not one that's changing my life, right? For the worse. It's not one that's keeping me from going to work. It's not one that's, you know, causing me to lose relationships, right? I'm judging this addictive behavior as it can live for now. I don't have to smite it just yet, right? And maybe I won't ever have to smite it. I have to say that's the addict in me though. Ooh, I really like my coffee. I don't want to give that up. But this is something that I'm conscious of, right? Nicotine is also an addiction that I engage in. Gaming is an addiction that I engage in. Um, you know, so we're not perfect. But I tell you what, I'm not doing drugs. Well, I mean, I guess I'm doing caffeine and nicotine, right? But I'm not doing the things that brought me to my knees. I could definitely be doing better, but I'm not doing bad by any stretch of the word. Putting yourself first sometimes is the hardest. Welcome in, Galen. It's good to see you. This is true. I agree. We have to value ourselves before we're able to do this, huh? We have to actually feel like we're worth it, which for me was difficult. It was a difficult place to come to. Sugar's so good, though, you know? I definitely overdo the caffeine, the sugar, and the nicotine. 100%. The trifecta. Breakfast of champions. Healthy addictions that replace unhealthy ones is harm minimization. I love that. I love that. All right. I feel like, what? What? Hold on one sec. My notes are acting funny. Sorry, guys. Hold on. Son of a gun. Son of a biscuit eating bulldog. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's what I say. Why have you done this to me? You've got to be absolutely pulling my leg here. You guys are so patient and wonderful. How come this has never happened before? Why is it happening right this second? Rada, 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 rada. Listen to my frustration. I'm so confused. What's truth? Good to see you. Welcome in. Okay, I figured it out. I fixed it. Holy crap. There's like a cloud database with my notes on it I didn't even know about. And the connection, it's my notes being connected to the internet is causing me problems. I wonder if I can turn that off. I probably can. Okay. How to address it? Prioritizing self care. We're addressing stage 1 emotional relapse, creating a routine that includes healthy meals, adequate sleep, and relaxation, folks. Right? We all know that. It's in the thumbnail. Halt, hungry, angry, something tired. Now I can't even remember what halt is. What's the L? Someone tell me what the L is, please. I want to say lazy. Anyways, we got to handle these things. You can't succeed without the proper fuel in your tank. Eh? Reconnect with support, right? We were just talking about isolating, being a red flag. Eh? Well, talk to a friend, someone you trust, a therapist, right? Talk to your sponsor, attend a support group meeting regularly. If you showed up here today, you're already doing this, right? But don't underestimate the power of your support group. Don't underestimate the power of opening up and telling your group or your friends what you're going through, what's going on in your life. Um, there is mysterious power in this. Lonely, that's right. Thanks, guys. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Pardon me. We were just talking about that too. All right. Stage 2 is mental relapse. In this stage, a mental struggle begins between the desire to stay sober and the temptation to use again. You might actively think about past use, right? Past use association. You might fantasize about it or rationalize potential relapse, right? Rationalizing meaning talk myself into it, justify it. I do this all the time, honestly. My brain just does the thing, and it's up to me to talk it out of it. Does that make sense, right? Sometimes our brains are not our friends, and especially in this case when we're in mental relapse, this is definitely the stage where trusting your mind is something you should question. Cravings, intense thoughts about using or engaging in this behavior. This is the first sign or characteristic you might say, of mental relapse. Romanticizing the past, right? So when I talk about not glorifying use, when I talk about like not glorifying these behaviors, this is what I'm talking about. In our heads, and I mean in our pasts, in our histories, we may or may not have had somewhat of a romantic relationship with our drug or substance of choice. I know I did. Um, and I'm sure that there are some of you out there that have as well. So having thoughts in that light, right? Or telling stories in that light, like the good times, because that's not what they were. Don't get it twisted. And telling stories in this manner or having memories in this manner, indulging those good times thoughts is going to not serve you. It's that's why we don't glorify it. We don't want to like when we're in this stage, we're very vulnerable. Our brains are very vulnerable. Our minds, our mental relapse, right? If we're going to tell ourselves that it was great, we're going to start believing that. If we're going to tell ourselves, um, if we're going to ignore the negative consequences when we remember these things, it's not good, right? This isn't good. We're going to twist our own perspective so that we can't tell the difference between truth and false. We can't tell the difference between good and bad, right? So be very, very wary of glorifying or romanticizing our addiction behaviors. Clyde Higgins, hello, hello. You can just see yourself out, good sir. Minimizing risks. Believe you can control your use or that one time won't hurt. This is false. How many people have you pardon me, how many of you out there have had this thought? I can control my use. I can just have a beer, right? I'm just gonna go back one time. I'm just gonna dip a toe in. I can't be alone and have being the only one that had this thought, right? We've all had this thought, right? TKK, hello, hello. Annika says, I did this so many times and it's like I had to just go through the emotions and realize. Oh, yeah, this is absolutely awful, and I'm ruining my life on several occasions before I stopped romanticizing it. And it's wild. Sometimes I'll be sitting down doing something that I know I need to stop doing. I need to go work on a show, or I need to go cook dinner. I need to go do the dishes, whatever. I'll be telling myself, I need to stop doing this. I need to stop doing this while I'm continuing to do it. Addictive behavior 101. Um, we definitely have to take the power back. Flick, I feel like I don't want to read this whole thing out loud because it's so tender. But sometimes you end with sometimes it's the super simple things. Yo, sometimes we need a good cry. I think the number one best, most fantastic, amazing way to to, to like let out your sadness, to process sadness is to cry. Sometimes anger too. Sometimes we have to cry to unlock the vault inside of us that's holding all of these emotions bottled up. And I'm glad that you did that. I'm sorry that this is your experience and that this is what you're going through, Flick. But I'm really really glad that you got in that shower and cried it all out, yo. Let's get some ones up for Flick Fox and anyone else struggling. This time of year is hard. This time of year is just hard. And don't let my cheery demeanor fool you. I'm also struggling. Um, I just I'm not struggling in this way, I guess. But don't think for a second that I'm not. Because I am. RSM, hello, hello, Rona Cooley. Good to see you guys. Life is a dreamin'. You know, I could really get used to hanging out with you guys in the morning. I tell you what, I really could get used to this. Where's my thing? Internal conflicts, feeling torn between wanting to stay sober and wanting to give in, right? If we're having this conflict within ourselves, we're most likely in stage two, mental relapse. Planning, this is a big one. Beginning to think about opportunities to relapse or test limits. Now, becoming conscious of this thought is a challenge in itself. But once you become conscious of it, you can't forget it. Um, these kinds of thoughts, planning, right? We were just talking about the internal conflict and romanticizing, right? Well, if we go ahead and let ourselves romanticize the good times, right? If we ignore the negative consequences that were, glaring in those situations, as we remember them, we're going to end up, those thoughts are going to end up being plans, right? We're going to start scheming. And maybe we're lying to people close to us, right? Maybe now we're not telling the truth as well as isolating and having internal conflicts. Um, and this is bad. I mean, hopefully we catch this sucker before we're planning our relapse, right? Hopefully we catch this behavior and do the about face and walk the other direction before we're beginning to think about opportunities to relapse and test limits, right? Because if that's where we're at the we're at the end of stage two, right? We're literally we couldn't be any closer to actual physical relapse than we are in the planning stage. So how do we address this? Well, challenge cognitive distortion. What does this mean? Well, we talk about challenging our negative beliefs. This is just another way to say that, right? What are you believing about yourself that may be false, right? What thoughts and feelings are you having, harboring inside yourself, emotions that are contributing to this downfall, to this slide? Confront thoughts like, I can use just once. by remembering the consequences of past behavior. This is a go to, right? Whenever I try to ignore the consequences, I'll just quickly remind myself, wait a second, this is what happened last time. Remember? Don't forget that. And it might feel corny and seem silly, but look, if I'm going to tell myself in my head with my inner voice, like this was good, we should do it again. I should also definitely be telling myself, no, it wasn't, dude. What the heck are you? What are you smoking? You know what I mean? We don't do that anymore. Combat your negative self talk with some positive self talk. That's a great place to start. Distract yourself. Engage in healthy activities. Oh, imagine that. To redirect your focus. Exercise, hobbies, spending time with loved ones, right? We talk about this stuff all the time. We don't need to spend too much time on it. We talk a lot about the solutions here, um, which is a good thing. I'm a solution guy for sure. Engage, we just said that, blah, blah, blah. Reach out for help. Share your thoughts with a sponsor, a friend, a loved one, right? Someone you trust. This has been in every step so far. I bet you it's in step 3 too. Reach out for help. Tell people. Tell people what's going on with you. Don't hide it. Don't be alone. You don't have to be. It's that simple. Ooh, my coffee deserves hot coffee poured on top of it. That was some lukewarm coffee right there. Lukewarm coffee. Caffee. Review your motivation. What drives you? This is something that I've struggled with more than a lot of this other stuff. And I've struggled with all of this, but my motivation is sometimes very hard to reach. Reflect on why you chose sobriety and the progress you've made, right? Reflect on why you're doing this. What's the purpose, right? Why did you get into this thing in the first place? And remember how far you've come. Even if it's only a few days, that's probably more than you've done ever. You know what I mean? That's probably more than you've done recently at the very least, right? Even if it's just a few days, don't sleep on your progress. Your progress is important. And remembering it, celebrating it serves to motivate us further. Serves to extend this energy that comes from motivation, huh? Roberta, what's going on? Good to see you. Thank you for those kind words. Physical relapse. Dun dun dun. Drum roll. This is the final stage where you act on the thoughts and emotions from previous stages. I'm going to say that again, where you act on the thoughts and emotions from the previous stages. So wait a second. That's saying that in the first 2 stages, we're pretty much just setting the stage for this one moment where we're going to relapse. Well, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. We can catch this thing when we start stressing and having anxiety that we shouldn't be having. We can catch this thing when we start to withdraw from our friends. We can catch this thing when we're like not taking care of ourselves. Like Flick Fox was saying, she caught it at neglecting self care, got in that shower, cried it out. You know what I mean? This is probably my favorite red flag, the neglecting self care, because this is something I will fall into easily. And it's always a sign of the same thing. I catch it a lot earlier these days. Lifeboat Dave, 42 months clean. Good for you, man. I'm happy to hear that. My spidey senses are tingling. My spidey senses are tingling. Physical relapse involves the actual return to addictive behaviors, such as using substances or engaging in harmful habits, right? We don't need to spend too much time on that. Signs and characteristics. Engagement. Well, obviously, this is when I'll be using the substance, right? Or returning to my addictive behavior. And that's just the beginning, of course, right? Loss of control follows this, falling into a cycle of repeated use, because of course we can't just use once. Rationalizing, convincing yourself that the relapse isn't a big deal or that you can stop again anytime. I'm happy for you, dude. I just know that you're a troll. I just know who you are. Get out of here. Holy crap. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Rationalization, right? We're losing control. We're relapsing. We're convincing ourselves that relapse is not a big deal. This is something that we do. Um, yeah. So again, engaging in the addictive behavior is not the beginning. Or pardon me, it's not the end. It's the beginning of the end, right? The reason we don't want to engage, we don't want to physically relapse is because we're going to lose control. We're going to rationalize. We're going to just like, we're going to get back on the train, right? It's not like getting on and off the wagon. It's like when you get off the wagon, you step into like a runaway train that's just speeding down the track, and it might need a little while to gain speed and momentum, but like it starts going and then it's really hard to get off. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So engaging in our addictive behavior is just the beginning of what's going to happen, right? That act in itself might not be the worst thing in the world, but it's what comes with it. It's what that does to me as a person. It's what that does to my brain, my spirit, right? My life. It's not just engaging in using a substance or returning to an addictive behavior. It's literally throwing away my life, right? It's literally choosing not to care. I don't care. I'm apathetic, right? We've talked about this a bit as well. Anyways, I'm not trying to judge people that relapse, right? This is a part of, this is probably going to happen to us. I'm not saying that you're a bad person or that it's a bad thing. I'm saying that if we don't address it and treat it with respect, it's gonna kick our butts. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if we don't view relapse in a certain light, if we don't treat it the way it needs to be treated, it's gonna get us. That's what I'm saying, right? And if it does get you, don't worry about it. Get back on the horse. Learn the lessons, right, that are there for you to learn. Right? Why did we fall? Why did we fail? Right there. You know what I mean? It's just an opportunity to assess what went right, what went wrong, and do it differently, right? Do it better. It's just an opportunity to succeed, right? That's what failure is, right? So again, don't relapse, please. Try not to. How to address it? Stop the cycle quickly, right? Like Flick Fox was saying, when you start neglecting your self-care, seek immediate help. Hit that shower, cry it out. A single relapse doesn't have to spiral into full-blown addiction, right? Even if we make it all the way to physical relapse, we can about face quickly if we choose to. Blessed to Crochet, welcome in. Hello, hello. I guess I should finish before I do that. My brain is squirreling. Contact support systems. Inform your sponsor, your therapist, trusted friends, right? Your loved ones. Tell people what's going on. Tell people you relapsed, right? Call your dad and tell him you've been smoking crack and you need help. Brianna Miller, hello, hello. Sometimes relapse is like the frog slowly being boiled alive. If you don't catch it, it'll still get you. That's a scary thought. Quite the imagery there, Brianna, I have to say. Well done. Well done. Avoid shame. Treat the relapse as a learning opportunity. Hey, I just said that. Not a failure. Relapse is common in recovery and can be a part of the journey. Treat the relapse as a blah, blah, blah. Identify what led to the relapse and adjust your coping strategies, right? We just said that as well. Recommit to recovery. Double down on your convictions, right? Why'd you get into this thing? Return to meetings, return to counseling. Whatever elements of your recovery plan that you've left by the wayside, pick them back up and put them to use, right? That's pretty much what I've got. Now, I have some key takeaways for you guys. Relapse is not a single event, but a process that begins long before the physical act of using. By understanding these stages, you can recognize warning signs early and take steps to prevent escalation, right? Recovery is about progress, not perfection. I bet you've heard that before. So, approaching relapse with compassion and a problem solving mindset is essential. And that's the stages of relapse, folks. Do you guys have any questions, comments, experience to share? I'd like to open up this last 15 minutes for complete interaction. And while we do that, I'm going to scratch this itch that's been bugging me. My spidey senses were totally right. Huh. Huh. Always trust your gut, folks. That just goes to show you. Something inside me, maybe it's a sixth sense when we talk about gut feelings. What is that, right? If it's so trustworthy, it must like we must be able to measure it, right? Quantify it. Well, I don't think we have the science yet to measure the gut feeling or to really understand what that is. But if you ask my hippie friends, it's related to your solar plexus chakra, right? If you're into Naruto, uh, your chakra knows. You know what I mean? Your key, so to speak. Whatever the heck my gut feeling is, it cannot be thanked or appreciated enough. I tell you what. Spanx played some fun toys at the music store yesterday. Got a pic or two I'll send you. Please do. Dude, I haven't been painting. I keep like coming up to painting time and like getting called into work. I don't know if you guys don't know, I still work for the union now and again. Luckily the project that they were calling me in on is over now. So there's not zero chance. There's a much smaller chance that they will call me into work today. And when they for the record, when they call me in, I can say no, but you know, getting a little money in the bank for the holiday season is probably a good thing. It'll make me feel better. It'll remove stress and anxiety and allow me to purchase gifts for people that are not my sister, because that's usually the only person I get a gift for. I always would like to be a much larger participant in Christmas, because I've been such a large recipient of love and care around this time of year as well as trauma. But I only ever get my sister something. So that thought in mind, I like to, if I get the call, I like to take the job. So that's why I wasn't painting yesterday. And that's also why I wasn't painting the day before. Um, Most likely, pardon me. The plan is to paint today. All right, guys. I know it's also not a paint day. The plan is to do it anyways. I could see the cogs in your noggin spinning when you zoned in on that comment. My bestie says I'm the same. It's fun to watch that look on someone else's face. You know, I've heard people tell me that when I'm zoning out, when I'm just like kind of daydreaming, I look angry. I don't know if that's the case anymore, but once upon a time, I think it was. What you are doing now is a gift to many, Captain. Well, I'm so glad that you feel that way. And you know, it is a gift. I mean, I don't think about it that way. I think about it as like me doing what I need to do, right? Me doing what I can. Um, but it does feel good to be told that. I tell you what. I tell you what. Got 3 inches of snow last night. Ooh, I'm jealous. Not gonna lie, I love the snow. Love the snow. I don't like shoveling it or I like playing in it, you know? And something about it is very nostalgic. When the snow starts to fall, my insides tell me it's time to go snowboarding with my dad, even though that hasn't happened in many, many years. Jeremy, I pulled out the old guitar yesterday and attempted to learn a new song, and dude, I am ill-equipped. Um, the amount of atrophy that's happened to my guitar skills and like the way that I think about the guitar and the way that I play the guitar is massive. Like I can do some things, but like trying to like go and learn a song the way that I used to was not happening. Like I spent about 30, 40 minutes learning 10 seconds of a song. And I still like at the end of it, I hadn't figured it out. So I'm just gonna have to keep at it. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna have to be persistent. We'll spend another 30, 40 minutes on it today if we can stomach it, you know? But at the end of this journey, the atrophy will be reversed. We will be blazing trails once again, messing the fretboard up, a little tip tap. I will say, that dude seemed like he was having fun messing with me, which is cool. You always like to see people enjoying themselves. I could picture a smile. I felt a smile coming through those comments, which is good. Good. He should enjoy himself. His life will be richer if he does so. Flick Fox says, I think anyone that goes through addiction or trauma and gets through the stage of anger and can go around with love still in their heart, helping others, is actually our greatest superpower. And Flick, I think about this so often. What separates these people from the people that like come out the other end scarred and grumpy, and you know what I mean? What separates these two people? I can't quantify it. I can't figure it out. But I'm very grateful that I'm not bitter and cold, because I tell you what, I have been bitter and cold. I have allowed that to be me, and it's no way to live. It's miserable. It is miserable, and I'm very, very grateful that I didn't get stuck in that place. Caitlin, you and me both. But now I'm often asked what's funny, because apparently my new default expression is amused. This is definitely, I think, a trade up. If we've both traded our resting itch face for an amused face, I'm into it. I'm into it. First time I was told that my thoughtful face looked angry, I wasn't sure how to feel about it. Second snow day for your 15-year-old. Oh my, it's Christmas already, dude. I remember I spent senior year of high school in Illinois, and we had a snow day that year, not because it was snowing or because there was snow on the ground, which there was, but it was deemed too cold to leave the house. It was like negative something. And then you add the wind chill on, it was astronomically cold. My first experience in negative degree weather. Your husband's concentration face looks angry too. It could be worse too, right? We could look drunk or something, right? We could look like messed up. We could look like a little crazy. Like maybe when we get daydreamy and we start getting thoughtful, like one eye scrolls off to the side. It could be way worse. It could be way worse. And I mean, as far as way worse things go, I think having a lazy eye ain't that bad either. You know what I mean? Talk about entertainment, self entertainment. You know what I mean? Um, I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I am underestimating what it's like to have a lazy eye, but I think that, I mean, if I had to choose between a lazy eye and a bunch of other things, I would probably choose a lazy eye. I feel like that's not that bad. I mean, I have a hard time making eye contact sometimes, anyways, just because I feel unworthy or something. Doing Christmas connection on Blessed to Crochet every day this month. Heck yeah, Mary. I'm so glad to hear that. Don't forget, guys. Don't forget, guys. Well, hit that like, subscribe, the bell for notifications. If you like what we do here, it certainly makes a difference. I hope you guys have a wonderful Thursday. I was thinking about going to the Flow Jam today. I only went that one time, you guys remember. Um, Maybe it's time to go get involved. I don't know. I don't know. I'm always reluctant when I have that thought. I'm like, what? I'm going to go all the way down there on the bus with my nunchucks, like just to have people not be there. Maybe I just need to get over myself and go do it. Maybe I need to get over myself and just go do it. But it's been on my mind. I could, should, would have friends if I would go to this thing. You know what I mean? but I'm probably not going to go to it. Probably not going to go to it. You know what thought just crossed my mind? Well, if I have friends, then I'm going to have to either like say yes or no to hanging out, right? I'm going to have to actually get out of my bubble. Um, I'm like trying to defeat myself. I should probably go to the thing. This ties right into what we've been talking about all day. The inner me wants to isolate and not go make friends. But I don't think it's because I'm in mental relapse. I think it's because I'm really enjoying the progress that I'm making, the foundation that I'm laying for myself, the way that my life is going feels very good. I love the trajectory. And you know where I've stumbled before is when I get involved with friends or especially women. Women tend to lead me astray. Or let me rephrase that. I tend to lead myself astray when I'm enjoying the company of a good woman. And that's my fault. Uh, so, you know, there's always time to make friends and to meet women. Maybe I could get a little bit more of a solid foundation before I do that. But at the end of the day, who cares? I should probably go have some fun, right? These are the internal struggles of a Calhoun. Spanx, do you use nunchucks? You want to see, dude? You want to see these things? I'm pretty good. I might. I play around a little. My left hand is not as adept, but that's mostly because of the nub. When I smushed my finger in that equipment, I was about to be ambidextrous. I had been practicing with my left hand like twice as much as my right, and like it was getting to the point where it didn't matter which hand it was in, I could do what I wanted to do with it. And then I smushed it in a hydraulic press. So now I'm right handed again, but that's okay. We're working on the left. It just takes patience and persistence, which are the two things I need to work on the most. Dude, thanks for asking about that. I love a good chuck. How much chuck could a nunchuck chuck if a nunchuck could chuck none? I need to do a show on these, Kristen Melinda. Look up anxious avoidant attachment style, Captain. I think it might resonate with what you're saying. You know, Takara and I have conversations about deep theories and like we have intelligent conversations, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And one of the things that we have spoken about a decent amount is attachment styles. And in fact, she was the one that taught me about this concept. I didn't know that this existed until Takara told me about it. And I'm very excited to dive in, do some more learning, and I would like to bring it to you guys. This is something that I think the knowledge of can benefit all of us. Um, so thank you for reminding me, Kristen. I have it written in my notes, but I always like look at it and then forget. Conveniently, anxious avoidant. There are a bunch of different attachment styles, and I believe they describe how we deal with stressors or how we like to deal with stressors, maybe is the better way to say that. Have a great day, Kristen. Flick says, I watch content on this. It's helped me understand myself and my ex is the reason we're still talking. It's helped us quite a bit. Interesting. Good, good, good. Good, good, good. Remember, you're worth it, Flick. You're worth it all right? Something that I feel compelled to say right now. Remember, Flick, wait. I gotta be careful. I don't want to screw it up because this is great. This is wonderful. This is amazing. It's the best it's ever been. Flick, don't forget, anybody would be lucky to have you, but few deserve you. All right? Don't ever forget that. And that goes to all of you out there. You don't need to settle, right? You deserve the world and everything in it. I deserve the world, Chico, and everything in it. You know what I mean? Don't forget. No, for real though. Anybody would be lucky to have you. Few deserve you. Important stuff here. And you know, maybe that's why I'm terminally single, but I'm living a good life. I'm happy, baby. I tell you what. Not willing to settle. Yes, ma'am, Millie. I won't forget either. I promise. I tried really hard, Flick. I tried so hard. I didn't want to screw it up. It's one of my favorite sayings. Love you, man. Thank you. Thanks for being here, guys. I think I'm gonna go eat some cold pizza. Um, yeah, yeah. See, you can rob a bank. See, yeah. Come on, boys, get in the car. Just me and my guitars. Let's go. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a great day. All right, be kind to yourself today. You deserve it. And I swear we're gonna paint today. I'm only doing my best. I don't ever intend to lie. I just sometimes things happen. So yeah, check out 2 p.m. Mountain Time for the painting. And if you don't show up, I don't blame you because I've said that 3 days in a row now and haven't done it. So it is what it is. But I would like to be painting today, and I hope you guys have a wonderful one. We'll see you here soon. This has been the Lifeboat with Captain Calhoun. Much love, everyone.